Sophia started crying, those perfect, calculated tears again. Mom, we were only trying to protect you. You've been so forgetful. We love you. Robert's voice cut through coldly from the screen. Love? You loved the idea of our money more than us. You counted the days until I was gone. You planned to declare your own mother incompetent with fake medical reports? Margaret and I built this life with blood, sweat, and love. You tried to steal it while we were still breathing. I stood up, my legs shaky, but my voice surprisingly steady. Get out of my life, both of you. I don't want to see you again. The confrontation lasted nearly an hour. They begged, they threatened, they tried to gaslight me one last time, saying Robert had lost his mind, that I was being paranoid. But the evidence was overwhelming. Evelyn had already contacted a lawyer. Robert had prepared everything from hiding. In the following weeks, Robert quietly returned after the legal formalities. The faked death certificate and exaggerated medical records resulted in some fines and paperwork, but the mountain of evidence against Daniel and Sophia turned the tables completely. They faced investigations for financial fraud, identity theft, and attempted elder abuse. We severed all ties. No more calls, no more visits. We donated a substantial portion of the business proceeds and some properties to charity organizations that help elderly people who have been victims of family betrayal. The rest we protected with strong legal trusts that neither of them could ever touch. 6 months later, Robert and I sold the big family house, filled with too many painful memories. We moved to a beautiful, smaller home by the coast in a quiet town where no one knows our story. Every morning, I wake up to the sound of the ocean. Robert tends to the garden he always dreamed of having more time for. I volunteer at the local senior center and women's support group, sharing my story, anonymously, to help others recognize the signs of financial and emotional abuse. Sometimes, at night, I still feel a deep sadness for the children I raised with so much love, but I have learned a painful truth. Real family does not plot against you. Real love does not count the days until you are gone so it can inherit faster. The fragile phase of my life ended the day I chose myself. I am no longer the widow waiting to be managed. I am Margaret again, strong, free, and living the remaining years on my own terms, with the man who never stopped protecting me, even from our own blood. I finally understand that sometimes the greatest act of self-love is having the courage to walk away from those who only loved what you could give them.
Mom, what are you doing here? Daniel demanded, his eyes immediately landing on the open box and documents spread across the table. Aunt Evelyn, what lies have you been feeding her? Sophia stepped forward, her voice dripping with sweetness. Mom, we were so worried. You shouldn't be dealing with stressful things right now. Let us take you home. Evelyn stood tall. This is between Margaret and the truth your brother left behind. That's when Evelyn opened her laptop and started a secure video call. The screen connected, and there was Robert, alive, sitting in a quiet, sunlit room somewhere far away, looking directly at us with clear, strong eyes, the same eyes I had fallen in love with 50 years ago. "Hello, my children," Robert said, his voice calm but edged with steel. "Surprised?" I gasped and nearly fainted. Sophia screamed. Daniel stumbled back against the wall, his face drained of all color. Robert continued speaking, looking straight into the camera. I faked the severity of my illness with the help of a doctor I trust completely. I needed to know how far my own son and daughter would go to take everything Margaret and I built together, and you went very far. He played the recordings one by one. First, a phone conversation between Daniel and Sophia. Once Dad is gone, we get Mom to sign the power of attorney. She's already forgetting simple things. We'll have Dr. Harlan confirm cognitive decline. Then we sell the house, liquidate the business shares, and finally live the life we deserve. Another clip, Sophia laughing with Rachel. Mom thinks she lost her favorite necklace again. I have it in my bag. She's so easy to gaslight now. Daniel's voice on another recording. The business is worth millions. Mom doesn't need that kind of money at her age. Assisted living will be comfortable for her. We can visit on weekends. The betrayal crashed over me like a tidal wave. For more than a year, they had been systematically making me question my own mind, moving my keys, losing important mail, suggesting I was repeating stories, telling Robert I seemed confused, all while stealing in my name and planning to lock me away so they could enjoy the fortune we had worked a lifetime to build. Daniel tried to recover first. Dad, this is insane. You faked your own death? That's illegal. And Mom, Aunt Evelyn is clearly manipulating you. My heart pounded. Evelyn, what are you talking about? Robert is gone. Please, just come. 10 a.m. Come alone. I'll explain everything. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I told Daniel and Sophia I needed some fresh air and was going for a long drive to clear my head. Daniel offered to come with me, but I insisted I wanted to be alone. I drove the 2 hours to Evelyn's quiet suburban home with trembling hands on the wheel. Evelyn hugged me tightly the moment I stepped inside. Without wasting time, she led me to her dining table, where a metal safe deposit box sat open. Inside were handwritten letters in Robert's familiar, neat handwriting, dated over the last 14 months. There were bank statements, credit card records, photographs, and several USB drives. Robert suspected something was wrong long before his condition worsened, Evelyn said softly. He started documenting everything secretly. He didn't want to worry you until he had proof. As I read, the room began to spin. The documents showed that Daniel and Sophia, along with Daniel's wife Rachel, had been visiting Robert privately when I was at my weekly book club, doctor visits, or grocery shopping. They had been pressuring him for months to sign over control of the family business, valued at over $6 million, transfer properties into their names, and create legal documents that would declare me mentally incapacitated if Robert passed away. Worse, they had been using my personal information to open multiple credit cards in my name. Luxury purchases appeared, expensive handbags, jewelry, weekend getaways, even a new luxury SUV for Rachel. Thousands of dollars had been drained while they told Robert that Mom is starting to lose track of money and forgets what she spends. There were transcribed conversations where Sophia said, "Mom's memory is getting worse every week. We should get the doctor to evaluate her for early dementia soon. Once we have the papers, we can move her into assisted living and sell the house. It's too big anyway." Daniel had added, "The business needs fresh management. Dad is too old-fashioned, and once Mom is under our care, we can handle everything properly." Tears blurred my vision. They were making me doubt myself, hiding my things, suggesting I was confused. Evelyn nodded. There's more. Robert wasn't as ill as he let everyone believe toward the end. He worked with a trusted old doctor friend to exaggerate some symptoms and tests. He wanted to appear weaker so Daniel and Sophia would speed up their plans and reveal themselves fully. He recorded phone calls, saved messages, and gathered every piece of evidence. Just as I was trying to process this, my phone started ringing non-stop. Daniel and Sophia had grown worried when they couldn't reach me. Then came the loud knocking at Evelyn's front door. "They're here," Evelyn whispered. "They must have tracked your phone or car somehow." Daniel and Sophia burst in, faces flushed with what looked like concern, but now felt like something darker. Fragile. That word pierced my heart like a knife. Robert never called me fragile. To him, I was Margaret, strong, capable, his equal and partner through every joy and hardship of 50 years. We built a life together. We built a successful family business from scratch, a chain of small hardware stores that grew into something much bigger. We raised Daniel and Sophia with love, sacrifice, and values. And now, in the space of a few days, I felt like I had become a problem to be managed. After the burial, back at our large family home on Maple Avenue, Sophia and Daniel turned the living room into a reception area. Sophia rearranged the furniture to make it easier for guests, and for you, Mom. Daniel poured drinks and told stories about his father while glancing at me with pitying eyes. Later that evening, when most people had left, they sat me down at the dining table, the same table where we had celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays for decades. "Mom," Daniel began, sliding a thick folder toward me, "we've been talking. Dad's estate is complicated. The business, the properties, the investments. We think it would be best if you sign these power of attorney papers, just in case anything happens to your health. It will make things easier so we can handle the finances and medical decisions without stressing you." Sophia leaned in, her voice sweet like honey. "You've seemed a bit confused lately, Mom, forgetting where you put your glasses, repeating stories. It's completely normal at your age, but we want to protect you. The house is too big for one person. Maybe in a few months you can move in with me and Mark, or with Daniel and Rachel. You won't have to worry about anything ever again." I felt a coldness settle in my chest. "I'm not confused," I said quietly, "and this is still my home." Daniel sighed, exchanging a quick look with his sister. "We're not saying you're incapable, Mom. We just want what's best for you. Dad was already worried about your memory before he passed. He mentioned it to us several times." That night, alone in the big, silent bedroom, I sat on the edge of the bed we had shared for 50 years, clutching Robert's pillow that still carried his faint scent. Tears rolled down my cheeks. Was I really becoming fragile? Had I been missing signs of my own decline? My phone rang at 9:30 p.m. The number was from out of town. It was Evelyn, Robert's younger sister. She and my children had never been close. There had always been some tension, especially after Robert made her a silent partner in a small part of the business years ago. "Margaret," she said in a low, urgent voice, "listen to me very carefully. Do not tell Daniel or Sophia about this call. Your husband left me strict instructions before he died. He told me secrets he couldn't tell you while he was sick. Come to my house tomorrow morning, alone. I have a safe deposit box you need to see. And Margaret, whatever you do, don't trust your children right now. They are not who you think they are."
I never imagined that after 50 beautiful years of marriage, I would one day feel like a stranger in my own life, like an old woman who had become invisible to the very people I brought into this world. But that's exactly where I found myself on the day we buried my husband, Robert. At 65, I sat in the front pew of the old community church, dressed in the black dress Robert always said made me look elegant even in sorrow. My son, Daniel, 38, and my daughter, Sophia, 35, stood on either side of me, but they weren't really with me. They were managing everything, greeting people, accepting condolences, deciding who would speak, even choosing the flowers and the music. It was as if I had already become a fragile ornament that needed to be protected from its own grief. "Mom, please, just sit here and rest," Daniel whispered to me that morning before we left for the church, his voice full of that new condescending tone he had developed in the last 2 years. "Sophia and I have handled all the arrangements. You don't need to worry about anything. You're still in shock." Sophia nodded, squeezing my hand with a soft smile that never quite reached her eyes. "We love you, Mom. Let us take care of you now. Dad would have wanted that." I stayed quiet. What could I say? Robert had been ill for several months. heart problems, the doctors said, but his passing still felt sudden. One evening, he was sitting with me on the porch, holding my hand and talking about the trip to the mountains we would take when he felt stronger. The next morning, I found him unresponsive in our bed. The ambulance came, but it was too late. At the funeral, the church filled with familiar faces, old neighbors, Robert's business associates, friends we had known for decades. But almost everyone approached Daniel and Sophia first. "You're doing such a wonderful job taking care of your mother," they would say. "She's lucky to have you two." I heard Sophia whisper to one of her friends near the back, "Poor Mom, she's so fragile right now. We're worried about her memory and how she'll manage alone in that big house. We're thinking of moving her in with us soon."